Welcome. You are about to receive extremely valuable information.
Hello there, my name is Andrea Schmitz and I'm coming to you with part 3 of our series of why you can't trust your real estate agent. This is part of a broader series that's talking about how to buy a house, how to deal with mortgages, how to refinance your mortgage, how to deal with situations like foreclosure, bankruptcy, short selling. We're talking about major money saving tips. All right, and today we're on part 3 of why you can't trust your real estate agent, and we're going to talk about negotiation, the negotiation phase and closing the sale, and what, especially in the negotiation phase, what you need to have bells and whistles go off in your mind about when your agent says something and what that actually means in clear text. So you need to be very much aware of the conversations going on in the context of the negotiation. Before we jump into that, let me just say again, I'm Andrea Schmitz. I live in Germany. I've never bought a house in North America. I'm looking forward to doing that in a year's time, and that's why I'm doing all this research. And I'm offering you these videos because, I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a tax person or whatever. I have nothing to do with real estate. The reason is I want to learn as much as I can about the North American housing market. So when I move, I make important and informed decisions, and I've decided to put these into videos so that you can have benefits from it. I'm looking forward to your comments about your experience with real estate agents or with any of the other topics that I talk about, or your questions, because your questions and your comments about your experiences are going to help me to be more focused on how I go forward and how I actually go into the home buying process, because I'm starting late in the game. I'm 40 years old. I'm coming from a completely different country over the Atlantic. I have 5 children, and that's a very daunting thing. So let's work together on this. I look forward to it and I hope you find value in this. So let's move on to the negotiation process and why you can't trust your real estate agent when buying a house. So we've talked about, the beginning when everything went well with your agent and you were on the same page, and how things started to turn a little bit when you went to make your first offer. Those were the first 2 videos, and now we're at the negotiating phase, which comes close before the closing phase. And at this point, you're potentially pretty close to buying a house, and you want to buy that house, but at the lowest price, right? So when the seller wants to sell that house, but of course at the highest price, and to be honest, your real estate agent couldn't care less because he gets a flat rate, doesn't matter how much it gets sold for. So since paying the higher price, generally, will get the deal done a lot quicker. Agents will encourage you to bid higher, all right? Which basically means that you're negotiating against the agent as well as against the seller. Why would a house sell higher? Well, because the seller is going to be quicker to say, okay, I'll take the deal. You can have a good negotiation. Let's listen to what your real estate agent might say at this point in time, which you want to have bells and whistles going off in your mind, and where you might say, wait a minute, let's back up a step and let's move forward in a different direction. All right, so if your real estate agent tells you this, meet them halfway or in the middle, you might be inclined to think that this is quite reasonable. Sounds reasonable to me, right? So at the first, if the asking price is $500,000 and you bid $460,000 and they come back with $490,000, right? So you have the discrepancy between 460 and 490. Those are the 2 offers on the table right now. Then isn't splitting the difference at 475, so going up 15 and down 15, isn't that quite reasonable? What do you say? You know what? You have a realistic chance of getting the house for $465 or $470,000, All you have to do is ask. If they come to you and say $490,000, and your real estate agent says, let's meet them halfway, let's offer $475,000, you're like, especially like me, your very first time opening an offer for a house ever, like no experience up until now, you'd be like, oh, okay, I guess we'll do that. You know what? I'd like to encourage you to be bold, to respect the fact that the seller is saying, well, I'll go down in price a bit. Then you say, well, I'll go up in price a bit, but don't go halfway right off the bat. Where are you going to go from there? Negotiation is over because that person's going to say, okay, well, we'll take $475. So take $465,000 or $470,000. Okay? Here's the next one, and this is a real killer. I mean, this is killer. If your real estate agent says the following, you had better be like having your head spinning off, steam coming out of your ears. This is a killer saying. Are you willing to lose this house for $2,000? Or are you willing to lose this house for $5,000 or $8,000? It doesn't matter what the sum is. Well, let's say that you put in the offers $460,000 and the other one had $490,000. They went down and you say, okay, well, let's try it for $465,000. And the seller looks at you and says, well, I can't go any lower than $470,000. So that's a difference of $10,000. Now, what if your real estate agent comes to you and says, are you willing to lose this house for $10,000? Well, geez, this is a tough one, because on the one hand, it seems silly not to buy a house, especially if it's only like a $2,000 difference. It'd be ridiculous not to take that, then go up. However, you know what? Let me put this question to you. Whose interests is the agent now representing? Shouldn't your real estate agent be asking the same question to the seller? For example, we're going to walk. Yeah, we don't need this deal. Do you really want to lose this deal for $2,000? Hello, do you hear the difference? Are you willing to lose this house for $2,000? You're the buyer. You're the one bringing the cash to the table, right? And the real estate agent is actually supposed to be taking care of your interests, but he's bullying you, or she, right? On the other hand, if you're a real estate agent, you could have a very good one who could turn around and say, actually, to the seller, we're ready to walk. We're not going to pay the $2,000 more. Are you willing to lose this deal for $2,000? So how do you see the steam coming out of your ears? So there's one more thing that your real estate agent could say that you want to be on top of. And it's very similar to the one we just mentioned, but it's when they take that lump sum of $2,000 and break it down into monthly payments. Because it sounds like, boy, I've just stopped going to Starbucks twice a month. It's 2 coffees. Anyway, are you willing to lose this house for $12 a month? It's the same tactic, all right? This is part 2 of the previous point, which is applied if you don't bite on the first attempt. So if your real estate agent says you're willing to lose it for $2,000 and you're like, oh, well, it's still too much. I can't. And then they break it down into monthly payments. And well, what about $12 a month? You can make $12 a month. What they're still doing is not handling in your best interest. They're just trying to get the sale. And that seems to be the easiest way, as opposed to negotiating hard with the seller. So it's the same tactic, right? So let's look at the conclusion here. Let's just bring it all together. In these 3 videos, we've talked about important key things that should get the whistles going in your mind so that you know, wait a minute, my real estate agent is not handling my best interest right now. And as I've said already in the other 2 videos and in this one, your real estate agent can be your best ally, can really be the one to help you, and they have essential information. So I'm not saying, just screw them. But the more you educate yourself about the real estate market, you're looking in and how real estate agents operate, then the better off you will be when buying a house. And that's why I'm doing these videos, right? Real estate agents are quite useful because they can get you access to houses for sale and will often drive you around to look at them. Plus, they have access to the sale prices of other houses, so they have a very good understanding of the market. But whatever you do, never forget that your real estate agent gets paid when the deal is done, and only then. So, thank you very much for coming today. Leave your comments, your questions, your comments about your own closing experiences or negotiating experiences, and your questions about negotiating experiences. I have none. No experience myself, as I've said before, but your questions, I'll take them and I'll research them. So if you get in contact with me, I'll really take this because you're helping me and I'm helping you, because I don't want to be taken for a ride when I go to buy my first house. And I don't want you to be taken for a ride either. Thank you for watching. My name is Andrea Schmitz, and I wish you a happy house hunting. Bye.
It's from watching these simple videos that will have you on the right path in no time.